Hello everyone and welcome to my channel called The Moon Story Times. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, for your likes, comments, for your donations. All information about your donation you can find down below in comment. We keep reading this book called Grimm's Fairy Tales, and our story is The Donkey. Once upon a time there lived a king and a queen who were rich and had everything they wanted except a child. Finally their wish was granted and the queen had a baby. But it was a little donkey. What the heck? The queen was terribly upset. But the king said bravely, "God has sent him to us. He is my son and heir to my throne. I command that no one will treat him any differently to a usual prince." So the little donkey was brought up just the same as any royal child. The king ordered all the mirrors in the palace to be removed, so the little donkey didn't realize that he was different. He grew up happily and had a lovely nature. He liked to play and help people, and he loved music, especially the lute, maybe flute. He studied hard, and by the time he was grown up, he had learned to strum the instrument with his hooves just as beautifully as any master musician. One day, the grown-up donkey prince was out for a walk by himself when he happened to peer into a well that was full of glassy water. He saw his own reflection for the first time, and he was shocked and horrified. He didn't know how he could face his family and friends now that he knew what he was. And so he ran away from the palace. He traveled far and wide, and at last he came to a kingdom where he heard there was an old king with a wonderfully beautiful daughter. Hier is droom of a donkey. The donkey thought he would love to see the princess. He trotted up to the royal castle, sat outside the gate, took out his lute, and began playing a marvelous tune. The king and the court were in the great hall having dinner, and when news reached them that a donkey sat outside the gate playing the lute beautifully, the king was extremely curious. He ordered that the donkey be brought into the den with them at once, and for him to be seated right next to him at the highest table. The king made sure that the donkey was served with the very best food and drinks and was comfortable, and the donkey kept the king entertained with his talk. After a while, when both the donkey and the king were really enjoying themselves, the lovely princess came into the great hall. She was so beautiful that the donkey was entranced and could not take his eyes off her. The king noticed straight away and asked, "Little donkey, do you like my daughter?" "Oh, yes." He what? Breathe. Breather. "I have never seen anyone as beautiful as she is." "Then you will sit next to her too," said the king. The donkey could not believe his good luck as the king commanded his daughter to sit on the donkey's other side. The donkey prince showed he had perfect manners, helping to serve the princess with food and drink and charming her with polite conversation. Here is the king, the donkey, and the princess. He was kindness itself, and nothing was too much trouble. By the end of the feast, the king liked the donkey very much and invited him to stay at the castle for as long as he wanted. By the end of a month, the king and the donkey had become firm friends, and by the end of 6 months, what? The king offered the donkey his daughter's hand in marriage. The donkey accepted with joy, for he had fallen head over heels in love with the princess. The princess, however, was troubled. Although she had grown extremely fond of the donkey, he was, after all, an animal who wanted a stable beast for a husband. Still, a magnificent wedding was held with a splendid feast. The donkey was over the moon. At bedtime, the donkey bolted the door of the bedchamber and checked that he and the princess were quite alone. Then, all of a sudden, he took off his donkey's skin and stood before the princess as a handsome prince. What? "This is who I am inside," he told her. "Are you serious? I have never been able to do this before, so no one has ever seen me like this." The princess was overjoyed. She threw her arm around her husband, handsome prince, and kissed him and loved him dearly. When morning came, the prince got up early and put his donkey skin on again. Then he and the princess went to breakfast. "How are you, my daughter?" whispered the old king, rather worried. "Are you sad?" "Oh no, father," answered the princess. "I love my husband as much as if he were the most handsome man in the world. And I will do so far as long as I live." The king was pleased but astonished. In fact, he was so astonished that he guessed everything was not all as it seemed. That night he waited till the couple were asleep and then quietly opened the door to their bedchamber and peeked in. He was amazed to see a handsome prince lying in the bed and the donkey skin flung on the ground quietly. The king took the skin away and burned it. Then he returned to the bedchamber and stood outside the door, listening and waiting. Excuse me. Early in the morning, the prince got up and went to put on his donkey skin, but they could not find it anywhere. Then he began to panic. "Whatever will people say?" he cried in despair. They won't believe it is me. But at that moment the king burst in, saying, "My son, do not worry. I know you are the donkey, and you are equally loved by me, whether you are in animal form or as this handsome prince. Stay here forever. I will give you half my kingdom now, and when I die, you will rule over the whole of it." The prince was delighted. He even went with the princess to visit his own family, who were thrilled to see him after all that time, whether in donkey or human form. And in time, the happy couple ruled together over not just one but two kingdoms. Wow, very interesting. Thank you very much, my dear. See you next time. Bye.